Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm Miss Janelle. Today we're going to start on uh, a session that I'm going to share with you all more about like the techniques to actually tackle P4 to P6 questions for mathematics. So we're going to have a Head Start program for December. It's a holiday program workshop that is for P4 to P6. So some parents have been asking like, oh, how to actually put like the P4 and P6 students all in a group? Yeah, it's actually going to be a small group of like lesser than 5 people. So we encourage people to actually sign up. It's a three hour workshop. It's a one-time off. And then like what we're going to focus more on for this workshop is on questions that are like from paper 2. So from 2 marks question to 5 marks question for paper 2 for P6. And then like if you actually look at questions from P4 and P5, right? P5 and P6, right? The problem sum there's not much of difference. Yeah, it's just that P6 there's more heuristic questions than P5. And then like for P4 wise, right, they started on the introductions of like gap and difference, assumption and guess and check, and also things like the model drawing, working backwards, and then the before and after concept. So all those things that you learn in P4, right, is going to be spill forward. It's going to spill over to P5 and P6 as well. Is P4 one, those kind of questions that appear in P4 will still appear in P5 and P6. But then if it's a 4 mark question in P4, it will become a 3 mark question in P5 and a 2 mark question or 3 mark question in P6. So it is still under the problem sum. So don't worry. I know there's like a certain chapters that like P4 haven't learned, and then P5 and P6 they learn, such as ratio, percentage, etc. But in this program, I will be focusing on only those that are like major topics that P5, P6, and P4 all learn, and is really important. And the techniques of how to solve those questions, identify those questions, and then to do the heuristic questions of such. So topics such as whole number, money, decimals, and fractions. Yeah, so this main 3 to 4 chapters, and I will be doing on visualization and patterns as well. So those 4, 5 chapters, right, will be the main gist of the whole workshop of 3 hours. So today is going to be preview a very concise session whereby I'll show you all what kind of questions will be actually going through during the workshop, which I think is really crucial for students that want to do well, want to get at least an AL3 and above. So AL3, AL2, and AL1 is really not easy with the new AL system. So what I suggest is that like start working hard from P4. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to go into the session today. I think like I see some parents joining us already. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today on a Sunday. And I hope that like today's session is going to be fruitful and useful to you all. And for those that just joined, I like want to let you know that like I hope the parents and the kids are together with the are drawing together. Like can type in the comment below. Tell me whether like are you P4, P5 or P6 and with parents or just just the parents without the kid. Because if you're just the parents, I hope that your kid is actually beside you or something. Yeah, so that can see whether they can understand me as well. Because like later on, after a brief introduction, I'll be going into doing questions, which I hope that your kid that is sitting beside you can learn how to do the questions as well. So it's not a wasted 1 hour to be sitting through with me for today. Also for the parents as well, I hope you all learn something. Like you can learn how to solve the questions as well together with your kid, and then maybe can go through with them again. Because the question that I'm going to touch today is going to be like very common questions that I'm very sure you'll see in your school test paper, in the top school test paper, past year exam papers, like the PSLE paper. You will definitely have seen it before, either in P4, P5, or P6. Very common questions. Okay, so I'll do a brief introduction of myself. I'm Janelle. I graduated from SIM, Accounting and Finance, with a double degree, second class honors lah. So I was actually with PwC for two and a half years before I started to do full-time tuition. But I started teaching tuition ever since I was in JC. So if I start from JC and then I count, it's about like going to 12 years already. So my very first student was a PSLE student. She was my neighbor, and I was in JC2 that time. Then the parents was really asking me, can I like coach her for mathematics and science? So that's how I started lah. Then after that, I was still teaching because I teach her and then she did well, and then I teach her younger sister as well. Then I was doing like part-time tuitioning when I was like actually schooling myself. Then after that, when I go to uni, I had to stop for a while lah. Then I need to focus ma. Then after that, I continue to work as a adult in PwC. Then for the 2 years, 2.5 years, I was still doing part-time tuition. Like weekends, I still teach because I didn't want to get rusty, because I was still wondering whether like, do I want to do accounting or do I want to venture into like tuition sector instead, because I don't really enjoy accounting, let's put it this way. Yeah, and after that, I quit lah because I really don't like it. It's too dry for me. Yeah, and as from my background, you can see I'm a very mathematics student. Yeah, I took accounting, I took A math, I took maths Olympiad when I was in primary school. So yeah, and I taught in organizations such as like A Grader, MyStretcher, Kumon, and also TLL before, after I actually quit my accounting job. And then on top of those, I was teaching freelance tuition outside, like home to home tuition as well. And after that, I started my own company, which is My Shaper Education. We used to have branches at Katong, East Coast, and also like Bukit Timah. Then after that, like we I went to like we went back to teaching online tuitions because of the COVID and stuff. So we were actually doing more online portal now. So most of my lessons are actually online, and our workshop that I'm going to talk about today is going to be an online workshop as well. So we realized that students can actually learn from online as well, and it's quite effective for a very small group or for individual lessons, because if it's like very big group, I think it's very hard to engage as well. So I try to keep my group small, like within 5 people. So I teach maths and science, but today we're going to focus more on maths, and then we're going to talk about some of the questions before I actually go uh talking too much about myself. So anyway, today the heuristic methods, right, that we must know, and our workshop will be mainly focusing on, will be this that we have on the screen, whereby we'll be going through like model drawing, part whole model, before and after model, multiple concept. Multiple concept basically means that you know when to actually cut your model. And then before and after, like I mentioned, it will be things like, let's say A give B $20, and then after giving B $20, A have equal amount as B. At first they have A have 1/4 of B, something like that. Yeah, so those kind of question you need to do model. But some students who are like able to visualize it better, especially for the upper primary, like the P5 and P6 students, especially if you are at the AL1 range, right, if you can actually understand without a model, you can skip it, because for that kind of question it will appear in a 2 or 3 marks for the P6 already. But for P4, right, for a start, so when I go through, I will be using model. And for those that can catch, they can do without model. If not, then just follow my model. At least get you started. And then guess and check, you will be learning those in P3 and P4. But then like for P4 onwards, we actually like encourage students to do assumption instead, because assumption is faster, and also it's easier to do, because some students, they just cannot balance the guess and check, like they just can't find, or they will make careless when they are doing guess and check. Listing, another method, alternative methods, we can actually use gap and difference. So those are the things that I'll be teaching. I'll be teaching method 1, method 2, and then method 1 will be the longer method, and then method 2 will be the faster method. Yeah, and then you see whether the students, which one they actually can get better. I do not force method on students, because if they can get it, then it will be better for them to grab the concepts that they can actually get. So if let's say they cannot do the faster way, they can learn the slower way first. So at least they can still get the marks. But once they understand the slower way, maybe slowly they will be able to understand another concept, because it's still the same kind of question after all. That's what I believe. Then after that, we'll be also going through things like patterns, and also we still have another before and after concept, which is, yes, I know in front we already mentioned before and after, but as they go to P5 and P6, the before and after concept become more complicated, because you might become heuristic kind of questions whereby they will combine working backwards, algebraic method, and then all those together in one question, and it's still a before and after concept. I'll show you the different degree of like the level of before and after concept today in today's sessions. Yeah, for guess and check and then listing and gap and difference and assumption, I won't be having time to do those today. I don't think I will have time for a complicated pattern today as well. But I'll be this in the workshop that we are going to help in the December holiday. So I actually look forward to actually see you guys to join us for the session, because I think it's a very informative and it's a section that can help your child to take up most of the questions that they were not able to actually do by themselves. So if they are not able to catch all these concepts, by catching half the concept, it will actually help them improve their marks by at least a 10 marks or 5 to 10 marks already, because one question is about 4 marks already. If they can catch 3 of this kind of question, they could potentially get another 12 marks, and that will be a 2-grade jump for the problem sums. Okay, let's move on. So I'm going to go through PSLE questions, like challenging question from 2019 to 2022. There's typo here. And I will not be doing this year PSLE question because I'll be doing that in my workshop. And then for the questions that I'm going through today, right, they might not be PSLE question. It could be adapted from PSLE question. So similar questions that past year tested already, but then we change the name and numbers of it. So without further ado, I'll start with the very first question here. We have a before and after concept. This is a P4 question. So when I say it's a P4 question, right, it doesn't mean that like you, for the P5 and P6, you shut off. So this is a P4. If it appear in a P4, it will be a 4 marks question. And if it appear in the P5 or the P6, this will potentially be a 2 to 3 marks question. So meaning that it can come out in paper 2 still, but it is going to be a much lower mark range given. So without further ado, I'm going to start the question. I will start with model because there's P4 students in the session today as well. So that everyone benefit. So we have A and B. They say Alice and Billy. So Alice has 168 stems, and then Billy had 213 stems. After both of them give away an equal number of stems, have 3/8 as many stems. So key things for the students that are faster for P5 and P6 might want to look at the red color one and focus on seeing whether if you can understand and do without model. Well, I try and do the model to show the P4 kids in the session. So a brief one. So A and B have equal number. I always start my model by drawing the equal number one because it's easier for us to gauge. So A and B have equal number, and then I will move on to the next sentence whereby I will be looking at the one that they give us the fraction. So if they give us the fraction, then I'm able to draw according to the fraction. If they don't give me equal number, they don't give me fraction, I have no idea how many boxes I need to draw. It means I don't start with that. So if I start with the second part here, so Alice should have 3 units. And then Bill should have 8 units. How do I know that? Because the in front the on top one is always for the in front person, and the bottom denominator is always for the behind person. So Alice have 3 units. So Alice have 3 units. Let me cut the 3 units and draw them more properly. Alice 3 units. 1, 2. Okay, not a very good idea for me to use highlighter to draw the model. Okay. So at this point, anyone have any question? Oh, I can see someone already shoved the question already. Well done. Yeah, because can do without model for those that is like in P5 and P6. I'll explain shortly. Yes. So for here, if I'm actually drawing like that, then I have like 3 units. Pardon the not so neat drawing. So we have something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we have like 8 for Billy and then 3 units for Alice. So for start here, this is equals to the giveaway. This is the giveaway. This is the left and this is the left. So we need to label in case people get confused. So left, giveaway, giveaway, giveaway. So for those that have understand the red box, right, you will be able to see that the at first from here to here is equals to the at first 160. Correct or not? So this is equals to 168 for Alice. And then for here to here is 213. So that's why just now I was saying that you can actually look at the question and then start doing if you can understand the toolbox there. So 213 minus 168 give me 45. And then like this 45 is actually equals to this part here, which is the difference. Which if you can understand from here, just now I was saying that the top one is 3 units, the bottom one Billy is 8 units. So the differences between Alice and Billy is actually 5 units. And then both of them give away equal number. So means the difference really is just that 5 units. And if you take their total at first to minus each other, you got 45. That's equals to 5 units. Even if without drawing the model, if you can understand the 2 red box just now, right from start, you could have done the question without a model. But if not, don't need to worry, you can still draw a model and get your answer. Model can be fast as well. So just don't be too particular on drawing it super neat, because in exam we don't mark your model. There's no marks given for your model. Model is for your own understanding. So don't need to draw it until it's super tidy, but don't draw it until it's super untidy until you get confused what you are drawing. As long as you are able to understand, it's tidy enough for you to start the question. Just do it quickly. So 1 unit is 9. And then how many stamps each of them give away? So my suggestion is for those that are not very sure what to do, always go to the one that have less. So at least actually have lesser, at least have like 3 units left. So I'm going to find these 3 units, which is the left first. So 9 times 3 equals to 27. And to find giveaway, the at first was 168, right? We minus away what she's left here. So if I minus this, I get 141. This is what at least give away. Both of them give away the same, so means this is the answer. Or rather, this is the giveaway. Giveaway. Yeah, so I hope everyone understands this question. This one is pretty easy, right? Because I see a lot of like the P5 and P6 being able to give the answer. But for P4, this is still quite new. So I'm going to move on to the next question. This question, it happens to be the same kind of question, but it will be more of like P5 and P6 already. Because when I say it's the same kind of question, because we still have the same word here. After some, like there's 3% here, so it's still before and after, but now you have like, oh, there's one person, but there's 3 items here. So we have Joseph baked a total of 140 cupcakes, muffins, and lava cakes. After Joseph gave away 2/3 of the cupcakes, so gave away 2/3 of the cupcake. And then she also gave away 3/5 of the muffins. And then after that, they give us a number. And then also gave away 36 lava cakes. She had an equal number of each type of cake left. Okay, my students that know me for a while, for people that if you join me for one session, right, you will know when you see equal numbers and if you want to draw a model, please always start from the equal number. So if you start from equal number, it help you gauge how to draw the starting of the model. Okay, it might not be totally equal because yeah, the cursor is not following it well. So we have like cupcakes, and then followed by the next thing is we have muffin, and then followed by the next one we have a lava cake. Then this is our left. So this whole thing here, I'm going to just label at 1, so it's neater. So all this is going to be left. Then after that, the key thing, give away 2/3 of the cupcakes. So means left 1 unit for cupcakes, right? So means my cupcakes, the giveaway is the same unit as what I have here. So what I need to do is I draw this, cut into half. So each of the units look the same. That's for cupcakes. Means this one is actually the giveaway. Then after that, 3/5 of the muffin also give away. So my muffin, this is my left. Left is equals to 2/5. That's why my unit here supposed to be 2 units. Means I need to do 3 units more of this. Means 3 units more of this. 3 units more of this. That's for my muffins. And then gave away 36. Okay, I'm not sure how to draw 36. I'm going to just draw a random unit and put 36 inside. And I know that this total is equals to 140 altogether. The key things is always the numbers that they gave us. So I need to find how many units is equals to 140 minus 36. Or I need to find something that's relevant to this. So before I can find anything that's relevant to this, let's cut the units and make them the same first. So after we cut them, I realize that how many units plus 36 give me 140. So that will be the starting point. So I will have 6 units for the cupcakes, 5 units for muffins, and 2 units for the lava cake. So total here is 13 units plus 36 equals to 140. Right, so 13 units is actually equals to 104. So can you quickly help me count 104 divided by 13 is equals to how much? Yes, good. So 140 divided by 13, we get 8. Then after we get 1 unit equals to 8, we definitely can find how many lava cake Joseph's actually baked, right? So lava cake, we know that there's 2 units plus 36. So 8 times 2 plus 36. This should give me a 52. So this is my answer. Quite easy, right? This will be a 4 marks. Because to understand this thing, then you can start. This one actually I would suggest that you have to do model. If not, then another method of doing will be you have to do units in algebra. But then because of there's like P4 students in the class, for start I am not doing model. I'm not doing algebra yet. I will be using basically mainly a model. But for some questions, I will be starting to do some of the algebra one, which is the next one, which I have no choice to do model anymore, because as you know, like for P6, right, some of the questions become like heuristic questions, and some model cannot solve. It cannot be solved by model, cannot be solved by fraction. So this could be one of the method that we use units to solve, which is algebra to solve. It's still a before and after. Yeah, but this one will be a 5-mark question for P5 and P6. Yeah. So it's money. Then we have like for start, right, Edward have only $10 notes. Peter have only $5 notes. The number of notes Edward have was 2/3 of the number of notes Peter had. Then after Edward had given Peter $450 in $10 notes, the number of notes Edward had was 1/6 of the number of notes Peter had. Okay, looks very confusing, right? So key thing number one, Edward and Peter, Edward only have $10, so means all the money Edward have is $10. All the money Peter had was $5 notes. Then now we go into ratio or fraction. Normally for this kind, we'll state it in ratio. For those that never learn ratio, I'll be explaining. It's basically writing the units down, but in another form. So let's say here where Edward had was 2/3 of the number of notes Peter had. So remember just now we say for a fraction like this, the numerator always go to the in front, denominator always go to behind. So in that words, it means that Edward is always Edward is equals to 2 units here, and Peter is equals to 3 units here. And then with that said, the next one here, we have the next one. They say that Edward is 1 unit here, and then Peter is 6 units. That is after a change. Okay, the change is in red. I'll explain the change later also. So for this part, the behind will be equals to Edward now become 1 unit only, and then Peter become 6 unit. That's after change. So this is my before, this is my after. You see, it's a before and after still. But I'm not going to do model for this because it's too complicated, because there's unit before and after, there's money, there's different value of the notes, because there's $10 notes, there's $5 notes. And there's a change here in red. So look at the change first. Edward gave Peter $45 in $10 notes. So here I will want to know the number of notes given, because the number of notes given affect my unit change. Because the number of notes Edward have is to Peter have was 2:3 at first, or 2/3 at first. And then because of these notes given away, which is $450, $10 notes, means 45 notes given away. So this 45 notes is Edward gave Peter. Then this result in the after, whereby the ratio change. Okay, so now we can do after understanding the question. So don't jump into the question without understanding. Like, don't just plug the number and anyhow start doing. Do with understanding. It will help you to be able to do till the end. Okay, so here we have the first thing that I highlighted just now in pink color. So it was Edward $10, Peter $10. I will write it down like that so that you can see better. Yeah, wait, let me get rid of this because this is a typo. Okay, then by right here, it's supposed to be, I wanted to note here that it's an unchanged total. Okay, what is the meaning of unchanged total for especially the P4? So if you actually see here, it's a transfer of money from Edward to Peter. So means the total amount of money that both of them have, right, never change. So for example, Edward at first had $100, Peter at first had $50. The total amount between both of them is $150. When Edward give $10 to Peter, Edward become $90, Peter become $60. The total is still $150. That's a brief example given. So when it is an internal transfer between two persons, the total amount between both of them is unchanged. Then going down, the next part here, we have our two ratio. First ratio in green, which is the 2 units, is to 3 units. And then the second ratio is in yellow, which is the 1/6, which is the 1 unit is to the 6 units. So since we recognize that it's a total unchanged, right? So it's an unchanged. Then since it is unchanged here, then I'm going to make them the same because this is supposed to be the same. The total supposed to be same. Total must be the same. So for it to be the same, I do multiplication throughout the units to make them the same. So like for the ratio, right, you can see that ratio basically is just writing this number 2 and the 3 in this way instead. So it's like instead of me drawing like 2 units for Edward, I write the 2 units there. And then instead of me drawing 3 units for Peter, I write 3 units there. So it's easier to write than to draw because we must make the total the same. And the total being the same, right? We're going to 35 here and 35 here. If you're drawing model, you'll be crying now because you need to draw 70 units. Yeah. So the next step will be multiplying a similar multiplying both of them in order to get a common multiple. So 7 times 5 give me 35, and then the on top one we have 5 times 7 give me 35. Okay, so here is 35, here is equals to 21, here is equals to 14 units. So you can see that this is my at first, this is the after. And then let's compare them. So this and this, the change here is equals to 9 units. This and this is also 9 units because one give away 9, one receive 9. And that 9 is equals to 45 notes that we actually found here, right at the start here, that I was like trying to say that this is important. So there's like 45 notes here. So my next step will be Edward change is equals to decrease by 9 units because give away 9 units because Edward give Peter $45, $450, which is 45 notes. And then this is 9 units. Peter change is also 9 units, as I said just now. Peter go from 21 to 30. So Peter gain 9 units. And this 9 units is equals to 45 notes, which we just now mentioned. And then 1 unit is equals to 45 divided by 9. We actually get 5. So this 5 is equals to the number of notes per unit actually means. This is the number of notes. Wait, I'm trying to type. So far, anyone lost or anything can please comment. Then after that, we move down. The amount of money Peter had in the end. Amount of money Peter had in the end. So we go back to Peter in the end. So Peter in the end will be this one. So 30 units, right? Please bear in mind that Peter used to only have $5 notes. But because Peter received 450 in $10 notes from Edward, we need to bear in mind that we need to count the money in 2 sets. One set in $10 notes, one set in $5 notes. So I will have to find the total number of notes that Peter had in total first, which is 30 times 5, which get me to 150. Bear in mind that out of the 150, 45 of the notes is $10 because just now we already calculated. Then 150 minus 45 will give me 105, which is the $5 notes. So here I did a shortcut. So to show it clearer, this part here, what it means is that I took the 150 that just now I mentioned, because we are finding like 30 units, which is equals to 30 times 5 equals to 150. Total notes that Peter actually have in the end. The total notes Peter have in the end is equals to 150, which is this part here, minus 45. This is equals to the $10 notes. So we minus away all the $10 notes and then we times $5 because we want to find the value of $5 notes. So this is the value of the $5 notes Peter have, and this is the value that is the $10 notes that he received from Edward, because at first Peter do not have any $10. So this is received from Edward. So after you add them, then we have the final answer, which is 975. So this is our final answer. This is our answer. I hope you all actually follow. So the question here, you can see that there's a few traps. Trap number 1, each of them have different value of money. One is $10, one is $5 at first. Trap number 2, to recognize that it's unchanged total. After recognizing unchanged total, most of the students that are able to do until here, very good. You will at least earn yourself like a 3 marks out of the 5 marks. So the last trap that most students that are in AL1 and AL2 will fall into is this part here, whereby they forget that there's like 2 different types of notes Peter had in the end. They will just take 150 notes, multiply by 10, or they will take 150 notes, multiply by 5, because Peter at first had $5 notes only. They forget that Peter received the $10 notes from Edward, because we're counting the end. If you're counting at first, then I can take 21 times 5, because at first Peter only have 21 unit, and 21 unit of them only consists of $5 notes. I hope this is clear enough for you all to understand. If not, please join us for our workshop. And if still cannot understand, like maybe the one session of workshop might not be able to enforce the whole kind of concepts on you all, because there's many tweaks to this kind of question, as you can see. Like the first 3 questions that I've been going through since just now, they are all before and after concept with different level of difficulties, with tweak here and there. There are questions that are set by me, and then it's from a book that we have published, that is fully set by me. Yeah, then like we have detailed answer kits on that. We will be giving out the e-copy and the soft copy to students that actually attend our workshop. And for students that actually still need help after that, you can join us for our tuition program for 2023. Yeah, we have group sessions, we have individual online sessions. Please PM us or text me at the number later that I will actually give you all. And then like we can see how to actually help your child to do better for the next following academic year. So this is my final answer, and then let's move to the next question. So the next question here is a fraction question. You realize that I've been doing fraction mainly, and yeah, the reason why I am doing mainly on this kind of question is because it takes out 60% of the test paper for problem sum, especially. Yeah, because for P6, right, in particularly, they will have questions such as like fraction, ratio, percentage, all lumped into one question, or they will have fraction, decimal, and whole number lumped into one question. You easily find 3 problem sums with fractions in it, or you will have 3 problem sums that has like one of them is fraction, one of them is like decimals, or percentage or ratio, but somehow you have to still involve fraction in it. Yeah, so it's kind of important. I don't think I will have enough time to go through what I intend to go through with you all, because I was trying to go through in a way that was like very thorough that everyone can understand, because today it seems like that I was expecting more P6 crowd, but it seems like there's like P4 students, like more P4 and P5 students than P6 students. So I'm going through very thoroughly so that everyone can understand. Yeah, because I can see there's pop-up of people asking why this is happening, that is happening. So that's why I'm going a bit more in detail. So I will do the same during our workshop as well. I will be going through in detail. Like I believe in quality rather than quantity. There's no point of me like rushing through every single question. No one's understand anything, but I do like 20 questions. But I rather do 10 questions that everyone understand and grab some concepts and being able to duplicate it or to replicate it, to be able to redo the question or able to apply it on a different question. Yeah, that would be an achievement instead. So here, maybe I will not do this question because I think it will take quite a while. I'll do this during the workshop. I'll do a lighter question instead. So maybe I can do two of it. This one is a 2021 maths question that is appear in the PSLE. So this one is easier. So it's a 3-mark question. A bookshelf can either hold 30 large books or 45 small books. When you see something like that, first thing you do is, or first thing I will do, oh no, the first thing I will do is I'll write this. 30 large book is equals to 45 small book. Because the bookshelf can either hold large book or small books. 30 large book or 45 small books. So the capacity of 30 books that is large versus 45 books that are like small, they are the same. So Johnny stacked 3 large books and 23 small books in it. Okay. So 3 large books and 23 small books in it. Okay, this one. To make, okay, I'm just trying to highlight the key things that must do for a start. This a bit too much. For students, any idea what to start with really? Okay, I see someone say something. Okay, not too bad. So for a start, right, I will list down this first, and the next key thing that is very important to me is how many more large books can be stacked into the shelf at most. So I will want to change all my small books into large book in that case. Then I want to know the large book is equals to how many small books, something like that. So let's try and use the very first amount that they give me. I want to try to know if I have like 10 large books, how many small books can I fit in? The reason why I do 10 is because it's both sides. The common factor is 3. So I divide by 3 on the large book, I get 10. I will divide by 3 on the small books, I will get 15 small books. I think I can further go down. I should go by 5 instead. Then I have like 6 large books. Then equals to, no, I should go by 15. I should divide both sides by 15. I have 2 large books is to 3 small books. Then straight away, I think I can do something already. So how many more large book can I put in? I want to convert this one into large book. 23 small book is equals to how many large book. So we know that the relationship between the small book and large book is I need to see whether if my 23 divide 3, I get how much. But I know 23 cannot divide 3. So if I have 23 divide 3, right, the highest amount that I can go to is 7, because I cannot put half a book in. It's either I put in 8 books or 7 books, but I can't fit in 8 books because I will have 7 point something something something. So we will have 7 and then remainder 2. Then that remainder 2 basically means we don't put in another book. We can only put in 7 books. So that is equals to 7. And then I will need to times 2. So 7 times 2 is equals to 14. So this is 14 large book. So 23 small book is equals to 14 large book. So means the current shelf, right? Currently on the shelf, there's 14 plus 3, 17 large book. So the question actually at the start tell us that there's like 30 large book. It can hold 30 large book. So meaning like it will be able to hold 30 minus 17 large book. So it's a total of 13 large book that can be hold. So at most. Okay. I hope that you all are following for this question. And then for those that are not, leave me a PM. Okay, I will be going through questions like this as well during our workshop, but I think our session actually overrun a bit. So yeah, and I see some of the parents actually asking me about like when is the workshop, etc. So I will go into that now. Okay, for those questions that I actually didn't manage to do today, I'll go through during the workshop, and let me brief through what the workshop is about. So we'll be going through introducing new topics for the next level. Not really new topics, it's more like new concepts and new methods of solving for the next level. And also how not to be misled by the mathematics vocabulary. Like just now what we say about like the 2/3, you must know that the numerator is for the person in front and the denominator is for the person at the back. And also when to multiply for fractions. Let's say they say 2/3 of the remainder or 2/3 of the amount, whether do you multiply or do you draw model, etc. Like I'll be doing those in the workshop, and other things like the $5 and $10 questions that just now we mentioned about, whereby one person had $5, the other person got $10. How not to be misled that the final answer do not just times 5 for the units. You must know that the person actually have 5 and 10. So need to be very detailed, like to be able to spot all this, or rather enough practice, enough understanding. So the next thing also we'll be going through for P4 and to P6, right? Is this 3-hour session for the workshop series, right? Is to help you all to tackle certain obstacles that most students actually face with, and then helping them to actually understand chapters like whole number, fraction, decimal, and visualization better. Yeah, in the 3 hours. So this is the details that we actually have. So the first step the students actually need to learn maths in a correct way is not to memorize. I think there's like a lot of students that are trying to memorize maths. Like they try and memorize like, oh, guess and check means my first column need to times. I'm just saying like let's say maybe gap and difference. Some of my students actually remember things like, oh, first step I times, second step I minus, third step I minus, either minus or plus. Then the fourth step I will have to divide, and then after that I need to think, that kind of thing. So like I don't suggest memorizing. It will be better if you can understand the step, like why we do certain things. Yeah. So if cannot understand it, right, that means that like either when you're doing the question that time, you're doing blindly. So I'm trying not to do that. As you can see just now when I go through, I'm trying to do very, very in detail so that everyone can catch what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then other things that you should do is like must be able to identify the questions. Like I will always highlight what are the key things that the question actually tell us. Then after you highlight and identify those, you have to execute critical problem solving skills, which is you need to look at the questions and try to understand what they mean by per sentence. Like every information, especially the informations given in numbers, those are important. Like if they give you fraction, you need to know that the fraction is telling me the units of certain things. If they are giving you fractions, like say 2/3 of the remainder, means 2/3 times the remainder, 2/3 of total, 2/3 times the total, 2/3 kg of the amount, then it is just 2/3 kg. If the amount is 2 kg at first, and then 2/3 kg of the amount is used, please do not times, even though it's also a off, it means that it's 2 minus 2/3 kg that is used, because it's 2 kg and 2/3 kg. So those are like just simple example that I'm saying lah. So like 2 kg, both with units means you can minus them off. Yeah, like you are supposed to treat them as it is instead of like multiplying it, because it is not a fraction of the amount being used. It's the actual kg being used, and the actual kg is lesser than 1 kg. That's basically what the fraction there actually means. I'll go into details on that because those are like some very minor misconceptions that most students actually have for fractions. And then yeah, I will be targeting drilling on the 4 highly feared pain topics, which I mentioned: the whole number, the decimal, the money, and I will touch a bit on ratio as well. And yeah, I will do a bit of visualization as much as possible. So I'll expose to those questions that I actually say just now, like the before and after, the favorite exam questions. Yep. So this is for P4 and P6 students, as you can see here. So for P4, P6 students to P6 students, oops. And then I hope that you'll actually benefit from the session. And then it will be on 16 December, which is the following Friday, 2:30 to 5:30. Or if let's say you have holiday planned during the period, we have another session on 30 December, 2:30 to 5:30. Per group there will be under 5 students. I'll make sure the per group is under 5 students. At first I wanted it to be 8 students, but I think it might be too packed because of the, I think from the crowd that we are seeing, there's like different levels. So I will want to keep the group smaller so that it's more beneficial for the students. So it will be 140 for per students. If you are happen to be the first 3 students that actually sign up with us, you get a 15% off for the amount. And if let's say you join us for the session and then you find it useful, you want to join us further for next year tuition session on top of this workshop, we will give you another 15% discount for next year. Yeah, if you are actually joining us for workshop and then you're joining us later for tuition, but let's say you pay 140 for this workshop, then subsequently you find that the workshop is useful and your child actually can learn with me, you want to actually join us for next year 2023 sessions or regular weekly sessions of tuitions, you might want to tell me, then I can take note, and then like the next year we will be giving a 15% off for your next round of joining for the first 2 months. So wait, I'm getting stuck. Okay. So like just now what I say, there will be free material given, the e-material. These are like books that is published by Achiever Maths, and I actually covered all the questions and the answer key. So it's actually set by me and authored by me. So there will be 200 specific examples, mainly for P5 to P6, but I think it's no harm for the P4 to actually look through as well. I'll be doing some questions from here, and I also add in some questions that are like P4 as well. So it need not be all the questions from here I will be going through, because there's 200 questions. It's impossible for me to finish in 3 hours. I'll handpick questions that I think that is important, and chapters that students actually have more problems. So I will be doing questions of a particular few types that if I find a class having more problem with one. So this will be for those students that might be interested in the next year online booster class series. So for P4 to P6 students, okay, for the regular class, right, it will not be the P4 and P5 and P6 all together. So P4 is going to be in one class, P5 is going to be one class, P6 is going to be in one class, something like that. So for students who are aiming from AL1 to AL3, let me know if you are actually interested to actually join us. So there's a 15% loyalty discount, like what I mentioned just now. So if you actually join us for the workshop for this round for December, and then you find it useful and you want to go on to join us for the online booster class, there will be a 15% loyalty discount for the first 2 months. So P5 and P6, P4, P5, P6, it will be the same price, 4 sessions for 280. And then the class will be under 5 people. I will start a class as long as there's 2 people in the class. If let's say you want the class to be like more focused, and then like will be of the same pace as your school, right? You can introduce your classmate, your schoolmates to actually join in one class with you. Yeah, then I will give you a referral fee as well. And as I think that is like more beneficial for the students as well, because I do want my students to do well as well. Like for this year, my PSLE students, that I have like from the post that you can actually see from our heuristic mathematics, those students all belongs to me. Of course, there are some students that didn't do as well, but like most of those that actually, most of my students actually did well. So the passing rate is 100%, and then like the one, most of my students, like 99% of my students went to express, and our students for maths, we have I have about like 5 students getting AL1 out of my batch last year. I have about 8 students, no, I have about like 10 students last year, 5 students getting AL1, and then like I have 2 students getting AL2 and 1 student getting AL3. So relatively well done for most of the students. And then like for science class, we will talk about it on another session whereby when I'm actually talking about science. So I'm going to sign off here. So for anyone that have extra question, right, I'll answer your on the group chat. Yeah, in the chat below. So okay, sure. Okay, we can have a Q&A session for the last 10 minutes, because I have a class at 3 o'clock. So maybe you can ask me questions that you are not so sure about. Okay. I see someone typing in the chat. So yes. We will be doing only on the 4 chapters, like whole number, decimal, money, and fractions. I will throw in a bit of like the visualization if we have time. And yes, for the timing wise, is on the 2 days that I stated here, with 16th and 30th December. I can't do the week in between because I'm not in Singapore. So yeah, the timing is fixed as such. Unless you all have like other, I don't think I can change the timing because like I have some students that actually sign up, like one or two students that already join in that slot. Unless you want to actually go for individual session, which I think for a start it's better to join the workshop first because it's a startup program. It's more about helping the students to actually get some understanding, and then like for me to get a bit of understanding of the students as well. So yeah, it's more like a warm-up session whereby it's more, I encourage more asking of questions, and like we'll be going through some questions, and I will be going slower for the pace, like so. Yeah, that one we can actually you can PM me on that. Yes. No, when I say I only have like 10 students for PSLE this year, right? That one is for PSLE because like I have other students that are like in P4, P5 as well. Like I have individual classes, I have like one-to-one lessons. Yeah. Actually, out of the 10 students, right, that I have for last year for PSLE, 5 of them are in group, then 5 of them are individual. Not necessarily all my, actually, honestly, right, my group one, right, the 5 of them, right, that are in group, 3 of them got AL1, 2 of them one got AL1, AL2, one got AL3. And I have like another 5 that's in individual, some are face to face even. I have like one of them that didn't do super well. Names not to be mentioned. And then like I have one student that got AL5 for individual online, and then the other 3 of them, I think, yeah, it's either AL2 or AL3 kind. Yeah, so not necessarily the group one don't do well. The group one actually did better. Yeah, but I will group them according to their levels and their ability as well. Because if they are getting about the same marks, like if the group are all the AL1 students, AL2 students, or AL3 students respectively, the the questions that I will expose them will be different as well. The speed I can do is also different. If let's say they can understand fast, I will go through more and of course faster. So it still boils down to the amount of like practice that they are willing to do and their understanding as well. So I think my student overall still improve lah. For those that didn't do as well, they still improve by a grade. It's just that like yeah, it's like I just try to bring out their best potential. Then for P4, my student marks range from 70 to 95 for maths. P5, my students marks range about 80 to 93 for this year. And I have secondary school students and O-level students as well. So like I only take in a few of each level. Yeah, so last year is not a year that I have a lot of PSLE students. Yeah, the year before I have more. 2018 I have even more. Yeah, like the year before, because it was the first batch of the change, I try not to take in so many PSLE students because I wanted to see how is it like. I have about like 5 students or 8 students if I'm not wrong. But honestly speaking, for 2021, right, my student overall did much better than 2022. I think they marked a bit more stricter for 2022 because my 2021 students, right, um, I actually got out of my 8, don't know, like I don't remember how many students I have, but like out of the students that I have, right, I have 90% of them getting AL1. Yeah, that 10% that didn't get AL1 got AL2. Yeah, so did really well for last year. Yeah, and the year before was even more better. Was the last batch of before AL1, like before the AL system actually came in. 2009, 2020 was, yeah, I think 2020, I think my students did really well. Like all my students got like A and A star kind. So A, knowing their prelim marks, they are like about 85 to 88 kind, and their aggregate score for total marks was about, on an average, 244, 240, something like that. So it was really good year for the last 2 years. This year is a bit unexpected. So I think they are getting stricter. Maybe they gave some discount for the last 2 years because of like the COVID. Then the discount is waiving off soon because like they're opening up. I and yeah, so that's my understanding on it lah. Like, so better to be more, to start prepare earlier. Okay, if you are interested to join us, right? My number that I will leave on the screen for a while. Then after that, I think I'm signing off. Please leave me a text or let me know if you're joining our lesson or our workshop. This is my number. Or you can always send my PM at the PSLE Heuristic Methods site. Okay, I'm going to end the session off today. Thank you so much for all the questions and thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope everyone learned something today. Yeah, I hope to see some of you guys today because I think I think there's like some kids that is like posting some funny comments in the chat, like asking whether like how to do certain questions. I can't go through it today because yeah, we're running out of time. So maybe when you actually join us for the workshop, I'll go through those questions. I took a screenshot of what you actually asked, like the questions. I'll bear in mind, I'll go through questions like that if I see you in the workshop. Okay, bye bye.